You can't escape plastic.
Just one word.
Yes, sir.
Are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Plastics.
It's in most everything we use, from the chair you're sitting on, to the pen you're using, to the box with your leftovers. In the 70 years we've been manufacturing it, researchers have found plastic in every cranny of the planet, from the highest peaks to the deepest ocean trenches. The ocean especially has become a plastic repository, with 18 million pounds added to the pile every year. And beyond just being a massive eyesore on the planet, plastics look and sometimes taste like food to marine animals, leading to things like whales washing up on beaches around the world with hundreds of pounds of plastic in their guts. Animals eating plastic isn't a great thing for obvious reasons. It gums up their digestive tracts, creates a false sense of fullness, and overall weakens animals, robbing them of the energy to breed, migrate, and hunt. But what's less obvious is the chemical impact. Most plastics carry chemical additives with them to the ocean, and scientists are starting to think those chemicals are what's attractive to animals. PhD student Zoe Diana is trying to find out why, by feeding anemones plastic pellets. Sorry, anemones.
All of the anemones we fed plastic pellets ate the plastic pellets, so we're curious on why do they even eat this in the first place? Why does it taste like food to them? We're thinking that plastic has flavors that makes it tasty.
Most manufactured plastics are a byproduct of fossil fuels. The carbon in fossil fuels are the building blocks in a long chain of molecules called polymers that can be molded into any shape. Kind of like spaghetti, but way more durable. But carbon isn't the only thing present in plastics. They often contain chemical additives that imbue the plastic with specific characteristics, like a resistance to UV degradation or inflammability.
The polymer itself is totally benign. It's everything else that's in the plastic that's not so benign. It's what you put in so you can make it into something like a Lego or whatever else.
Those additives might have bizarre side effects, including being tasty to marine animals. Scientists working at the Duke Marine Lab in Beaufort, North Carolina, found that chemical additives in plastics were actually encouraging corals to eat plastic.
They were eating it and sucking on clean plastic longer than weathered plastic. You don't need bacteria and things like that on the surface to have plastic be eaten. Taste your iPhone cover. Think about that. Stick your tongue on something. If you taste the water in your water bottle, is that a good idea? Tasting is one sense, but it tells you a whole lot about the activity of molecules, and there are huge mixtures of molecules in plastics. Some of them are steroids, they can change your physiology, and some of them are toxic. They're heavy metals, there are all sorts of strange things in plastic.
Building on the work with corals, Zoe is looking at what happens to anemones when you feed them plastic.
So we looked at different metrics like their growth in their crown area. So anemones have all these tentacles up, that's kind of called their crown. And we looked at the area of that over time. And anemones that were fed the plastic, their crown area did not grow. Anemones not fed the plastic, their crown area did grow over 12 days. We also looked at metal concentrations or element concentrations, and we found increased lead concentrations in anemones that consumed plastic pellets for 12 days.
Zoe's work is just beginning to penetrate the mysteries of plastic chemistry and its impact on marine animals. But there's already some takeaways for the plastic industry.
So since we're seeing an increased concentration of lead in anemones that consumed plastic as compared to the controls, I think that if there's some substitute that can be used instead of lead, metals are often in plastic to prevent photodegradation or the breakdown of plastic in light. So perhaps there's something else that we could use to prevent this photodegradation.
And of course,
if there's plastic being produced and we want to use it, maybe just don't make it tasty to marine organisms.
Yeah, one of the routine things for our culture is we develop products, put them out in the market, and then we don't realize we have issues until they gain market share. So plastic is much more dynamic than something like a glass bead. Glass beads, we know what the surface chemistry is. Plastics, we have no idea. And so when you see plastic on the ground, you realize that it's something that's much more dynamic than a broken bottle.